Cynthia, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here.
I
Um,
appreciate you having me.
Life is delicate. It's interesting. Some even have a bit of a cynical approach to it. What's a typical formula? People, they get educated, they get married, they have kids, you typically have a career lasting, you know, 30 plus years. Then things get interesting. Either their kids, uh, who they kind of invested a lot of their time and resources into, end up leaving. They become empty nesters. They get opportunities different places. They sometimes move on. Sometimes a loved one, a husband or wife, passes away, or a divorce happens. Sometimes a lot of divorce happens after the kids kind of grow up because they
They-
were gonna get divorced anyway, but
yeah.
they were waiting for them. In other words, it's like you work your whole life towards kind of the unknown, the golden years, but then when that comes, a lot of times like, whoa, this is not at all what I thought it would be. I feel totally lost.
No one's
I'm
prepared you.
not prepared at all. And this is kind of an epidemic that really no one is talking about except for you. And you've addressed this topic and you're trying to turn this kind of, for a lot of people, nightmare into a dream for them. So, I mean, how did you get involved in this?
Okay. I've worn many different hats, truly. I was always the type of person that a lot of people don't like change. I thrive. I
Oh,
thrive
yeah.
with change. Yeah, it's if it gets too boring or too mundane, and I'm talking just on a professional level, I'm ready for something new. So always looking to continue to learn, to strive to do better. So that has been my personality all my life, and with many different career changes and being a caregiver for multiple people, both my parents, and just the different experiences that I picked up. And with the most recent professional career that I had as a speech language pathologist, I was working with patients. I was working with patients that were, primarily 65 and older, and many of them, they had mild cognitive impairment. So working with them and then working with their caregiver gave me a great insight into what this chapter holds.
Mm,
And they're
mm,
not prepared for it. They're seeing, their whole life
yeah.
change. I mean, I remember this one gentleman who, probably one of my favorite patients. He had had a stroke, but this guy was active and he was into sports and he was a photographer. And I forget what college he went to, but he went back to his school and they allowed him to take photographs on the field of a sporting event. And they loved his work. So he would give his time to this university, and then it grew. So this woman was, married to a gentleman who was really involved with the young athletes and out there, on the field every weekend and, taking all these wonderful photographs. And then he has a stroke one day
Mm,
and their lives changed dramatically,
yeah.
just dramatically. And no one prepared either of them for that major change. So some people, to answer your question and stay on task here, is how did I get involved in it? It was involved from all the different hats that I've worn, then working with this population of older people and seeing firsthand some of the struggles that they had to deal with. And then just my own personal life, having, come through some pretty significant losses in my life, and losing my husband and becoming a widow, and then trying to be out in the dating world. That was interesting. And my most recent breakup really was an eye opener. It was I wasn't ready to go back out into the dating world. I was ready at that point to look inside of me and say, okay, I don't want to keep. It's 22 years now. I don't want to keep dating. I mean, I want to keep dating because I want to be in a relationship one day,
Yeah.
but I don't want to keep dating when I'm not sure what I'm looking for, and I'm not sure why things happened in this current relationship. So it led me, of course, I had to heal from that breakup. And then it led me into doing this research that I just, I didn't know about attachment styles. I didn't know about love bombing. I didn't know about all these things that I learned about. I mean, they've been out of, but it just didn't hit my life. So from what I saw from my patients and their loved ones, and then what I saw in my own life, I just said, wait a minute, there's got to be not a better way, but what can I provide to women that may help this transition a lot better? And what I want to do is I want to build a community of like-minded women
Mm.
who can, share their experiences. Shared stories are great for so many reasons. It really helps other women to learn what's going on with them, to see things from a different perspective. So that's where my mission started, was with the heartbreak and then the healing and then certainly the recovery and the research. And the research, again, and I'm being a little redundant here, it led me to want to see what I can do with women. And then there's the other component of the retirement.
Mm.
And, it's truly a word that needs to be retired. And it has a lot of
That's funny.
negative, thoughts attached to it, and some people are not feeling good about it. So I decided to instead, get rid of the word retirement and let's coin it the encore, and let's come from a positive aspect, and let's keep learning. Let's continue to be curious.
Wow. Do you feel like it was kind of it sounds to me like a bit of a divine intervention that you were kind of led down this path?
It may, it may be. Like I've lived my whole life, and if my daughter were here right now, she would say, you know, she was raised on, things happen for a reason, sweetheart. We may not understand it right now. And that's the way I raised her. And that's basically what I've lived on
Yeah.
that thinking, is that things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I came about this
Yeah.
kind of as a divine
It,
intervention for sure.
I mean, bless you for this incredible work, because I find myself even emotional just thinking about it. We all know people in these situations. I mean, I take a look at my uncle right now. I mean, completely, like, very much a love marriage, very much into each other. Him and his wife. Wife died from cancer.
Yeah.
He is completely lost. And it is sad that, either someone's empty nester or they lose some partner, or, a lot of times you hear this medical miracle that people die when they retire.
Absolutely.
And so what you're
Absolutely.
saying is that, hey, um, that part of life was not really well defined. It's time to redefine that and show you that those years can actually be better than your previous years. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, the whole premise is that, I want women to just take a look and
Yeah.
redefine aging. And there's no one right answer. And I'm not looking to teach anybody
Yeah.
anything. I'm looking to give people food for thought and create connections and create a community
Yeah.
where people will stop and think, they're asking themselves, I don't know, am I too old for this?
Yeah.
Has life passed me by? It's really
Yeah.
sad. And I don't personally experience this, but a lot of women that I speak with, friends and friends of friends, who feel invisible at this age. And
Yeah.
again, I'm not one of them, but there's a lot of women out there who feel like they're not seen or they're heard. There's ageism that's going on. There's technology that has passed them by. And the baby boomers, I feel like, is one generation that has seen a lot of change.
Yeah.
And how that impacts us. I mean, we didn't come out of the womb like my grandkids did, holding an iPhone at 6 months
Yes.
old, or
Yes.
being exposed to an iPhone.
Oh gosh.
We were doing the rotary with the with the
Yes.
wire on it.
Yes. Yes.
And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of women that feel as though life they're still here and trying to navigate it, but the world has passed them by. They go into a doctor's office. There's no longer a receptionist. It's now a kiosk, and you
Right.
have to sign in. And how
Yeah.
do I do this? And scan what? Scan. Where do I scan? What do I do?
Yeah.
So just, again, I'm not here to provide answers. I'm here to hopefully start the conversation,
Yeah.
let women get curious, have them redefine aging, possibly reimagine what this next chapter of their life can be like. And
Yeah.
I just think that there's age is just a number, and if you have the will and the desire to do something, I think you should go for it. So there's a whole lot of motivating factors that I want to put out into the universe.
Well, there's faith that says that heaven is underneath the feet of the mother, and a woman sacrifices a lot for her family, and she works really hard. I think harder than men, and it's injustice and unfair for her to give so much for so many years, and then either empty nesters, lost spouse, retired. They should not be feeling sad, lost, because of all but they are. And now your mission is to make sure that stops happening.
That stops happening. Or
it's a very noble thing you do.
Open up their eyes to, you have an opportunity. It's not over for you. You may be feeling lost right now. And what did come out of all the research that I did for a year and a half now is that I know I can speak for myself, and we'll see what other women think. But for right now, I think that living an intentional life, and not going to get into the whole neuroscience that supports that we should also all be living more of an intentional life, but also having a purpose.
Yeah.
And I feel like since I found my purpose, and this has become my purpose right now, and I feel more motivated when I get up out of bed, and it's been very inspiring, and I hope I can inspire other women to do whatever. It could be as simple as I want to take a bridge lessons, but can I really learn bridge at this age? Or it could be, I want to, this is my 6th business that I'm starting, which is kind of crazy. I could be out on the golf course and doing, I always say doing more things with my grandkids, but my grandkids are getting older by the minute, and grandma is way down the totem pole.
Oh gosh.
For time.
Gosh.
Yeah. So
do you share how old you are?
Oh yeah, no, I definitely share how old I am. I'm 67.
67. I mean, the reason I ask is when you first told me that, I was pretty shocked. I mean, I said you look like you're in your 40s. I mean, I say all that to say not everyone, like a lot of people have an idea or a vision, or not everyone's suited for that. But I find this is a very big task you've taken on, a very blissful and impactful and, generational impactful kind of mission you're on. But I feel that you're suited for it because, you come from a fitness background, you were an instructor, you have, a very nice degree in communications. You have the tools, the skill sets, the desire, the energy, the passion to carry out this mission, which I think is very important. Have you, tell us a little bit more about your background.
My background. Oh, it's varied. It's like a checkerboard here. I started very young. I always wanted to be in advertising. I wanted to be the Darren Stevens. You probably don't even remember Bewitched.
I do. Actually.
You do. Okay.
I used to watch it. Yeah.
Okay. So I wanted to be the Darren Stevens.
Was that her husband?
No. Yeah, it was her husband, and he was in advertising.
Oh, right,
and I was fascinated by his briefcase, quite honestly.
Yes.
So I always had a desire, and I remember when I was in college, marketing, art, and design, and I did a big promotion on Smucker's natural peanut butter or jellies or one of the Smucker's products and everything. But anyway, so I started off at Rickle Home Centers, quite honestly, and I was a junior copywriter. Now, that not glamorous when you're talking about toilet bowl repair kits and screwdrivers. So didn't take a whole lot of talent, but it was great experience. And I basically worked my way up. I switched over to the advertising area of publishing. And by the time I was 30, I was a publisher.
Oh, wow.
And I started 2 publications. I was responsible. I was the publisher of the Business Journal of New Jersey. I started New Jersey Home and Garden Magazine and New Jersey Real Estate Guide.
Yeah.
And then from there, I felt a little burnt out. My family needs were changing. And I said to my husband, I want to go and retool myself. I went back and got my master's in speech language pathology. Well, it was actually in communication sciences and disorders. I became a speech pathologist. That lasted 5 years. And then I started to miss the business world again.
Wow.
And so I went back into business for 11 years. And at that point, I owned 3 companies. It was the New Jersey All-Star Training Academy,
Yes.
home of the Cheer Academy All-Stars. They were all-star competitive cheerleaders.
Wow.
I had an 18,000 square foot facility
Oh,
and
wow.
several teams that we would take to national
Wow.
competitions. And I trained 11 area high schools. So it was all consuming. And I did that for 11 years. I started All American Practice Gear. I was manufacturing my own shorts and my
Huh.
sports bras. And I started a 501(c) so that I could go into areas where families could not afford this program and be able to
Wow.
offer scholarships.
Wow. That's
And
incredible.
so we did that. But then I lost my husband, and I
Yeah.
kind of lost a little bit. I said, you know what,
That was 22 years ago.
it was now 22 years ago, it was
Yeah.
2004.
Wow.
And in 2004, I lost my husband. I said, you know what, I better sell these companies, or the 501(c), you don't sell it. Of
Yeah.
course, we know that. But
Yeah.
I better do something about this before I run them into the ground.
Yeah.
So in 2009, the sale of the business went through.
Yes.
For 2 years, I became a caregiver for 1 year. I became a caregiver for my dad who had Alzheimer's.
Mm.
Then I went back and I retooled myself. I volunteered at Robert Wood Johnson Hospital in New Brunswick, New
Yeah.
Jersey. It's a level 1 trauma center, and I volunteered there in the speech department. I wasn't qualified to get a job there
Yeah.
because my prior work experience was with children in
Yes.
schools. And
Yes.
so I had to retool myself to learn about more the medical side of speech language pathology, which is where I always wanted to be.
Yeah.
So now I had the opportunity. I worked on a ventilator unit with patients with trachs and feeding tubes, and then segued into working on more with cognition. When I went to graduate school, nobody wanted to do cognitive therapy
Yeah.
because there wasn't the research to support that
Yeah.
there was such a thing as neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
Today is a different ballgame, and that's what fascinates me. And there's a big section in my website on the brain and the
Yeah.
importance of cognitive stimulation,
Yes.
stimulation as we age.
Wow.
So, and there's brain sparks, which are basically exercises. So
Yeah.
hopefully it's a website that you can go to, but that's basically my background.
Yeah.
And here I
No,
am
very
today.
eclectic. Very
Yeah.
eclectic. It's interesting because I consider myself a pretty exceptional problem solver. I kind of do that for a living, and I have been for years. But you got me stumped
Oh,
in the sense that there's an epidemic going on. It's a travesty what's happening, and it's a gift that you're solving this. That people are not having a good third act, and they're not having a great encore. I don't know how to solve that problem. How are you solving it?
that's a good question. I just hope that I can address it. I have 3 pillars. It's intention and purpose. I touched on that a little bit, like incorporating, like finding out what your purpose
Okay,
is.
so when someone comes
And
to work with
yeah,
you,
yeah,
you put them through these 3 pillars.
exactly.
Okay.
And then the next one is connection and community, making connection. And connection doesn't have preferably with another person, but you can get connection through journaling, and there's other ways to get connection, and also being part of a community, and there's different ways to do that. And then the last pillar is knowing the importance of mental health and practicing principles that will lead you to be healthier, lower your anxiety level, lower your stress levels, which there's a lot of gut brain
Yes.
connection. And then the last piece is the importance of cognitive stimulation.
So
And
you're
then
using science to kind of holistically, naturally reset them
yes, or at
to
least to guide to show them things, to expose them to things, to increase their curiosity, and then let them do what works for them.
How has the feedback been in the sense of, has there been pushback? Because I'm just thinking of some people who are a little on that phase of their life. Sometimes I'm like, dude, I'm not going to like start. I've never journaled. I'm not going to start journaling now. Have you gotten this kind of pushback?
Without
Yeah.
a doubt. If you know what, and again, my my website and my podcast and my blogs and the Encore legacy experience is not for everyone. I need to know my audience. I need to know that person
Yeah.
who is still, is 60 years old, anywhere 55 and up, and they're still, it's a priority for them to take care of themselves. It's
Yeah.
a priority for them to take care of themselves. Chances are they're going to be more open to some of the things that I'm exposing them to. But
Yeah.
there are individuals. Oh no, journaling is no. I don't like to journal. I'm not going to start journaling now. And it's amazing what happens from a neuroscience standpoint
Yeah.
to your brain. That it's like I make an analogy all the time that bicep curls to build your muscles.
Yes.
It's writing, just forming letters A, B,
Yes.
C, D, E.
Right.
Just the mechanical
Yes.
part
Yes.
gets things firing, and then you
Huh.
put that overlay of, writing about something meaningful, or just writing your thoughts.
Yeah.
So it really gets. It's like bicep curls for the mind is what I call it.
That's fascinating. Who is your dream client then?
My dream client is someone like that I'd want to hang out with,
Huh.
quite honestly.
Who do you want to hang out with?
And I like to hang out with women who are open, who are willing to explore, who are curious about life, who know that that there might be something else out there for them. It could be the very woman. It doesn't have to be the woman who's starting another business like myself. It could be a woman who, again, wants to take the bridge lesson, or she wants to start pickleball, or she wants to. I'm a big golfer. I love my golf. So like
What do you
women
golf?
who want to
What's your golf scores?
Oh my goodness! I played yesterday. I had a few blow up holes. I ended up with a 98. So
Yeah.
if I keep it
That's
under
really good,
100,
though. Yeah. Yeah.
it's decent.
Yeah.
But yeah, and my handicap. Let's move right along here.
Okay.
Anyway, but who is my dream client is someone over 55 years old who knows the importance of taking care of themselves. They know that it's not I mean, technically it is our final chapter,
Yeah.
but they're addressing it with, I want to be the best that I can be for themselves to
Yeah.
enjoy and they're not doing it for other people, and there's no apologies, and they're not staying in relationships that don't work. They're working on the relationship, which is so super cool.
Yeah.
And whatever they're striving because they want a better life for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's basically, my life is great, and I'm very grateful.
Yeah.
And I've been blessed with so many things.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like, oh, there's something better down the road. It's just, it's nice to have that comfort level of
Yeah.
peace. And
Yeah.
with all the stresses we have going on in the world today, and just as we get older, there's going to be stresses. We worry about our children, our adult children. We can't control them, but we worry about them. Can't worry about our grandchildren, but they're
Yeah.
there. If we have grandchildren, if we don't have grandchildren, sometimes there's regrets as people get older. And what can you didn't do that at 30 years old. Oh, I always wished I would have whatever. And
Yeah.
it's like taking those people and saying, okay, at some point you have to make peace with that.
Are you having a good third act?
It's interesting. I was having a really great third act, and then all of a sudden, to be honest with you, I mean, the launch of my website, it wasn't delayed. It was delayed by hours, not days. But it's just everything, now it's coming down to a reality. All
Yeah.
the research and the writing that
Yeah.
I've done 7-8 hours a day,
Wow.
in the privacy of my home,
Yes.
it's now going out for all the world to
Wow.
see. I would love for all the world
Yeah.
to see. But it's just like, I mean, just launching on social media to my friends and family
Yeah.
felt like, oh, I share things on Facebook and
Yeah.
Instagram. I don't originate things.
Right.
So that was
Okay,
that
interesting.
was like, oh my
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
what are people, and
So you must be very passionate about this mission of yours
I am. I like
because
to
you've
think
stepped
I
quite
am.
out of your comfort zone.
It's and I think that's what's making life interesting is that I'm stepping out. But I have to say right now, my anxiety levels slightly increased.
Yes.
I'm not liking that feeling.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that once I really get everything
Yeah.
out and let it fall where it may,
Yes.
and those who like me will follow me, those who don't like me won't follow me.
Yes.
And hopefully there'll be enough of those likers to build an audience.
Yeah. very natural to have a little bit of anxiety. You're launching a very powerful thing. It's not like, you're launching some new line of pens or something, which, doesn't really matter. But I mean, this is, uh, this is a very noble work, very necessary work. I mean, you're basically trying to fix an epidemic that's going on, a very sad one that no one's talking about. Talk to me more about the process. Um, how long does it take? Is there any experiential element to it? Do they have to be local? Walk me through a little bit about the bridge that you've created to take them from kind of a little lost, a little confused, maybe a little sad to, hey, I'm loving life more than I have in a very long time.
That's a great question. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really, it's almost the exposure and a little bit of guidance. Again, I'm not teaching, I'm trying to build a
Mm.
community. So it's really kind of self-directed and
Yeah.
where you want to take it. Do you want to just, be involved and go on, the website and read the weekly, blog and listen to the weekly podcast? Do you want to take it to the next step? Are you going to go to the Encore Brain Center and do the Brain Spark? So you're going to
Mm-mm.
incorporate those. They're recommended to incorporate those into your life, but will you? Will you start to journal? So where will you take this? So there's a whole lot of opportunity there to get involved at whatever level you're comfortable at. Ideally, there's a whole shared stories basis for this, and I'm hoping that that's really what's going to drive the whole podcast blog section of this program are the shared stories where women will get out and say that they can relate or not relate,
Wow.
whatever their story is, they share it. And it's like, okay, so Mary shares her story and Jane reads it and say, oh, I was in a similar situation, but I never thought to look at it from this perspective.
Yeah.
And it helps to maybe lighten her load, or maybe it helps her to not feel as better, but at least she has maybe some insight into what's going on. That's one way of doing it.
Mm.
The other way is to join the 12-week program, which I
Okay.
will launch in the fall, probably
Okay.
around September. And that 12-week program will be, you will start with taking it's kind of like a scale. It's where you're kind of determining where your awareness is and how ready are you to really make changes. Are you just looking at, reflection right now? You're just looking to reflect. Are you looking to reimagine, or are you looking to go further and to reframe things?
Mm.
So it's like 3 steps, and depending on how you score,
Yeah.
we'll put you into a category, and then you kind of follow the program. There'll be weekly Zoom meetings,
Yes.
and you could interact as much as you want or as little as you want.
But clearly, you've curated quite a bit. You've done a lot of research, but a lot of care and thought into this. What fascinates me is that it seems like a core component here is community, which
Huge.
which is pretty fascinating because I mean that is a very you know what they call the ancient wisdoms, the original truths is that to heal through community. And I feel like we've lost a little bit of that in today's day and age of technology.
It's been documented without a doubt. It's down, way
Yeah.
down.
Well, I'm curious about this now because I believe wholeheartedly in your methodology of installing community because it's so helpful to be around like-minded people going through similar things, people who are become widows or empty nesters or retired, to be around them to support each other. I think there's a lot of healing in that. Your daughter, I had the honor of going to Ashley's studio, and I've had I have a few questions about that because I've had a few thousand clients in my life, and I have never seen anyone brag and praise someone the way I've seen your daughter's clients brag about her. And I asked everyone, I said, what is the secret here? And your daughter has one of the hottest studios in South Florida, fitness studios. They all said the same thing. To paraphrase, community. They all said, this is the best community. We love the people here. We help each other, encourage each other in and outside of the studio. We're there for each other if someone's missing. And they all, because it's unheard of that people come to the same studio for years. It's just statistically, that's just not what it is. They hop around, they don't. And so I said, how are all these people here for such a long? It's the community. So is this, if I'm to guess, this didn't really come from Ashley. It came from you. That Ashley was instilled with this concept of community, that you instilled it
Yeah.
into her while raising her. Is that?
It perhaps, I mean, I don't know, not intentional. I mean, she, was,
Are you a big
raised me.
community person?
Big, supporting your community. And I think
Yeah.
she's always felt that way. And she's always been a team player, and she will take the shirt off her own back. I mean,
Yes.
she has helped so many women in that gym. I mean, not only as clients, but she's been there for all hours of the night, with the texting and the phone calls and the, being a shoulder for them to cry on and looking for guidance when they fall apart. She's
Yeah.
been incredible. She always supports, every October is a big month for her because she'll find a client and she'll sponsor them if they're going
Yeah.
through cancer. And I know she was my biggest supporter when I went through my battle with cancer. I mean,
Yeah.
she was there. She was she was here in Florida. I was in New
And when
York.
was that?
But it was when I turned 60. I had just
Oh, wow.
done her 12-week transformation at her
Yeah.
studio. And
Yes,
I
yes.
have pictures, and we were looking at them a couple months ago. And I'm like, oh my God, I look so healthy. I'm turning 60. That's why I
Yeah.
did the transformation.
Yeah.
And I said, Ashley, you realize I had cancer, and I didn't know I had cancer in those
It's
photos.
incredible.
And she was incredible. She was on every single, like when I went into the doctor's office, she had to be on FaceTime, and she drilled those doctors. I would take their answer, and she'd be like, she would research. And the one of the sweetest things, well, every I would have my treatments on Thursdays, and sometime on Thursday I would get a delivery of whatever. And the last Thursday that I was going, the night before, she said to me, "What time are you going for your treatment tomorrow?" And I said, "It's the same old time, whatever." And I live in a doorman building in Manhattan, and someone knocks at my door. So I'm thinking it's the maintenance people, right? And I opened the door, and she jumps out in front of me, and she flew up for my final chemo treatment.
Yes.
And I was never sick the day after my treatment.
Oh, wow.
2 days
Yeah.
I was sick, but the day after, so that Friday we went out to dinner. We
Oh,
we
wow.
we had a great time together. So she was my biggest
Yeah.
support system ever. So we're used to supporting each other, and maybe that just transcends out into community for her as it does for me.
Yeah. No, it's really, really beautiful. I mean, what's your vision 5 years from now with your mission? Where do you want it? What would you, if we were sitting here 5 years from now,
Oh my
what
goodness.
what would we be talking
I'm
about?
hoping that I can build a community of women that will be supporting each other, and I could look back and say that those years that I spent doing this were well worth it, because there are women that are thriving. And in 5 years, we'll kind of see where it goes. And do I really want to be working another 5 years? I don't know. I did retire for 1 year. I mean, I was able to pull it off and
You don't seem like the
retire.
type that can
Yeah.
retire for too long.
Yeah, exactly. And so in 5 years, I'm really hoping that I have a solid community, however
Yeah.
that large and whatever that looks like. It's just
Yeah.
a group of women that are thriving and are happy to
Yeah.
be, and through my research, and through, I'm also working with Jay Shetty School. And,
Yes.
as a result of that, I mean, and even through, your program, I've been connected with people from Australia and just from all over the world. I mean, trying to connect with
Yeah.
that time change
Yeah.
is a little difficult, but I've met some fascinating. I'm working with a
Yeah.
woman now she's French. She lives in Italy, and her story is incredible. And our connection is great. But we're learning from each other,
Mm.
and it's great.
It's almost like you're this conduit that you have all these kind of fragmented people suffering alone, and what you're doing is, let's come together, and instead of suffering alone, let's heal together, and let's be better than ever together. And that's how I view what you do.
Yeah, that's well, thank you. I hope that I'm viewed by many other people in the same light.
Well, I think there's a lot of blessings in this. I think that no one deserves to have gone through all the no one's deserved to sacrifice so much and do so much in life, and then at the end, or the last act, not it should be their best act. And I think that you believe the same thing,
I do.
and that's not happening for a lot of people. And your mission is to ensure that that happens.
Yeah.
I well, I hope you don't mind me saying uh, we all have gifts. I have a gift. I can tell immediately if someone's going to make it or not. I can tell if something's going to work or not immediately. And I think this is going to be a home run.
Well, I
I,
hope from
I,
your lips to God's
yeah.
ears. Yay.
If there's one final message that you'd want to give to women right now who are not where they thought they would be at this age, what would be your message to them?
It's not too late to make a change. It's not too late to look at your circumstances and say, or seek out help, whatever that help may look like for you. But yeah, it's not a done deal. You don't have to live in a situation where you're entitled to be happy. You're entitled to be happy. Or whatever that may look like for you. You're entitled to be at peace. You know, you're entitled to live that last chapter exactly how you want to write that script,
Yeah.
and you have the power. The pen is in your hand. Go for it.
Yeah. I love it. And I have thoroughly enjoyed this. Is a bit emotional, but I really enjoyed this, and I wish you nothing but the best. And I know, for those who are thinking about reaching out, that my message to you guys is that I've been seeing Cynthia, and she really puts a lot of thought and effort. And this isn't woo-woo stuff. It's science-based. It's real. It works. Um, and I would say you deserve to live your best years, and Cynthia's the one who can help you make that happen.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thanks so much for being here. And let's do this again in 5 years.
Okay,
Okay.
you got yourself a deal. I look forward to it.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me. It's great.
My pleasure.